Hi, good morning, everybody. I'm supposed to give a few comments on generally the entries of the blog contest. I'm not going to take too much of your time. Basically, there are two things for me that stand out. One is form, the other is content. I'll deal with form first. Now, where form is concerned, I notice, I have to be quite frank to say I was a bit disappointed with the quality of the writing. I noticed that generally people aren't a bit loose with their words, or they don't tend to think too much about how they structure certain sentences. So you get long ones that go on for a while and don't say very much after a while. So the general advice I would give is try to keep sentences short, try to keep focus on the points, and be somewhat logical with the paragraphs. I mean, 1 point for a paragraph and then you expand and stuff like that. The other is the quality of the language as well. I don't know, it varied quite widely from some very sobering ones to some rants that ask a lot of questions. So, I mean, what I notice is some don't grasp the idea of an essay. An essay is basically to, and this is a very short one, you have about 1,000 words to make your point. So you have to be very tight with the amount of words you use, and as well as the structure of your sentences and the paragraphs, so that points flow one after the other and you're not stuck repeating yourself earlier. I mean, so that's as far as form goes. Now, as far as content goes, I think generally we're looking at more originality of ideas. I know some of the topics posed tend to, I mean, you've heard a lot of opinions about it, like CLP, the impact of Mahathir's blog. So, I mean, a lot of the ideas that came were a bit, how should I say, cliched in a way. I mean, you've heard it in the press. I mean, a standout in an essay is you want to give something different. You don't have to make too many points. You just want to make maybe one excellent point which you develop a bit further. That would help stand out. I mean, I came across one essay that was like that, and he basically took 1 point and went all the way with it, and for me that showed an interesting development of the idea. So it's for me, the content, you have to have an original idea, something that somebody hasn't thought about. Sometimes I notice there are potential ideas there which are not developed. They just sketch the idea, describe it, and then they just leave it without taking it a bit further. So I would recommend in future, if you're here, to try and think through the idea a bit further. What are the consequences of it? You know, what are the areas of impact of it? One final note is, I came across actually 3 or 4 essays which, for me, was quite amazing because they didn't quite answer the question. I mean, the topic says one thing, and the answer, they give lip service to it in the first sentence, and then they go off on something else. So to me, I think you've got to look back and reread some of the work, you know, reread it 2, 3 times. Ideas come after a while when you keep reading it again. And to me, what came off from those kind of entries were, they didn't even bother to read it again to just see whether it matched what was asked of them. I think that is very fundamental, and if you did something like that, the marks would tend to be pretty low. Okay, I mean, that's all I have to say as far as the general entrants are concerned. I have nothing else I really want to say about that. And I'm going to hand over shortly to my colleague Shih, except just to say one thing about the blogging, because whenever I come for these forums and whatnot, I hear certain kind of a kind of similarity in some of the questions, and I'll just want to say very shortly this. Blogging is nothing very different from if you walk around and say nasty things about people. Just because you're a blogger doesn't mean you're special and you're out of the whole legal system and you can do whatever you want because it's the internet. It doesn't work that way. We're all responsible for our actions. So if you want to pass information around, that's fine. But what I think the thrust of it here is that you have to check it yourself first. you have to be sure that it is true as well, because you can't just say, yeah, it's my friend said it, so, hey, it's fair game, I can pass it around. Okay? What the internet does is, it gives you tremendous power. All of us now are very powerful, because whatever we say, anybody can read it now. So, you know, if you've watched Spider-Man, you know what they say. With great power comes great responsibility, right? So that is something I want to impress upon bloggers here, that you are very powerful now. Nowhere in time is an individual more powerful than now because of the internet. It's given you powers to reach so many people. So you have to be responsible in reaching out to those people as well, and in the information that you put out. Okay, that's basically all I want to say. Thank you very much for listening.